Today is a very simple recipe I'm bringing to you. It's stuffed cheesy sliders. And basically, as I do in all my videos, you can get the quantity or approximate quantity of the ingredients in the description area of the video. And first of all, we're going to preheat our oven to 400. So you may want to do that now. And then we're going to start with the serving size. It's going to be approximately 6 to 8 servings, depending on if you want 3 to 4 ounce burgers. But initially we have a ground beef, a 80-20 chuck, got a smoked cheddar, a sharp cheddar, and we have onions, and those are just diced yellow, cream cheese. There are 8 strips of bacon here, but if we make 6 burgers, it'll be 6, so you may want to take out 8 if you know you're going to make 8. Then we have barbecue sauce. We have black pepper, garlic powder, hickory smoked seasoning, and some Spanish smoked paprika. Now, in addition to the ingredients I mentioned, you're also going to need some toothpicks and any type of condiment cup you may have. If it's these type from the restaurants or any, those that you've purchased like these, we're going to be using the bottom of these to make our indentions to stuff our cheese into the burgers. Okay, now what you want to do first is just break your meat up like so. And that was somewhat broken up already. And then I'm just going to add each ingredients in there, starting with the black pepper. You're just going to mix this up like you do hamburgers. This is our smoky red paprika, Spanish paprika. Then our hickory smoked seasoning, our garlic powder, and our onions. And again, you can get the approximate quantity of this in the description area of the video. And just mix this up, and we'll come back and start the patties and our cheese mixture. Okay, now basically my meat consisted of about 1.5 pounds, and these are approximately 4 ounce burgers here, so it's 7. I got 7, so as I said, anywhere from 6 to 8. If you go with 3 or 3.5 ounce size slider burgers, you'll have anywhere from 8 to 10. So we'll shape these into the balls, and we'll come back and use those little condiment cups to and wrap them with the bacon. Okay, so basically we're just going to take these cups like this. If you don't have one of these, you can just kind of do this with your fingers, and you're just going to kind of make a cup deep as possible, and then you're going to kind of leave that on there and put the burger back around it. Make sure there's not any tears in there, and you just kind of push it down like that. Okay, like so. Like I say, this is going to be to stuff our cheese with. You can spray these if you want, but usually it has enough fats in the ground beef or chuck to where it shouldn't stick. Okay, put one more finishing push on that to really get it down, because I'm going to stuff these pretty good. So as I said, these are 1/4 pound size. And I got about 7 in 1.5 pounds. You can add peppers to your meat as well, or whatever ingredients you prefer. And we like onions, so that's why I loaded up on the onions. So see, there we go. Got a nice indentation there. Make sure your balls are pretty tight. You don't want to just barely put them together like you would a meatball if you make it. So they're not, you want them to be as dense as possible so they don't tear up when they go in the oven. And again, your oven should be preheated to 400. And we'll come back and start our cheese mix. Okay, now we have our patties there, or sliders I should say. We're just going to wrap those with bacon. And Put a little toothpick in them to keep the bacon on there when they're in the oven. And then you can really kind of, if you want them deeper, this is the time to do it. And I'll just show you how to do a few of these. Get this baby here in the front. Imagine you can wrap this also as you're putting the indentions in there if you want. But okay. See, there you go. It's a little even easier to work with there like that. Okay, we'll just do one more here in case somebody just stepped out. They're very easy to wrap with the bacon, and this also kind of holds them together. That there. And a little toothpick over there. Alright, and then I'll use one of these. Oops, where'd my condiment cup go? Okay, there we go. And see how you can kind of really get that in there. Get those holes in there deeper if you want. And see, if you do that on a, this is a cutting sheet, but wax paper, it'll pull right up. If you do it on a counter, make sure it's oiled so they don't stick. Okay, so we're going to wrap all these just as such with the bacon, put the toothpicks in, and then you're going to put them in your oven at 400 for 20 minutes. Okay, now these are ready to go into the oven. One last little twist to that condiment cup. Open them up a little wider. And I'm just cooking these in a copper pan I have. But you can use whatever you prefer. And as you can see, they're about this thick, so about like that. So 4 ounces. So again, bake these at 400 for 20 minutes. While they're baking, we're going to go ahead and do our cheese mixture. Okay, now for the cheese mixture, basically we're just going to add our cream cheese. And that is well softened. And then we're going to add our shredded cheese. And I used smoky cheddar along with some extra sharp cheddar actually. Okay. You get those in there and just mix it up really well. And again, this is going to be our filling. If you want to add any other ingredients to this at the time, you can. If you didn't put it in your meat, green onions, any type of peppers you want can go in this. And you want to stir this up really well till it's soft enough to put in all of those slider deals that we have. Okay, gets a little hard to stir, so okay, we'll come back in 20 minutes. I'll mix this up some more. Come back in 20 minutes and fill our sliders. Okay, after the 20 minutes, our burgers have pretty much cooked down. You can see how much they shrink. You can use ground turkey, ground chicken, whatever for these. That's fine. And those pretty much stay pretty much the same. Another good option I have to recommend is if you have a meat grinder or buying ground sirloin or Angus beef. Also, it shrinks less and it has a, you know, a steak, more of a steak-like taste, especially ground sirloin. Well, of course, it's from steak. So basically, I'm going to transfer these over to my little drainage rack here. And there's no dry burger unless you overcook it when you're dealing with ground beef or chuck, for that matter. And I'm going to put these on here, drain them real good, and then come back, remove the toothpicks, and then we'll stuff them. Okay, now we're back. Now I'm going to give you a quick tip here. When you are draining these, there is a lot of excess grease, which comes from any baked burger. Unless you're grilling a burger, you are going to have that grease that hangs, you know, soaks, drains down into the reservoir area of your pan. So to get some of that excess off, I turn them, you can turn them upside down when you first take them out, and then you might want to take some paper towels and just dab the middle. You don't want a big puddle of grease sitting there unless you just like an overly juicy, greasy burger. Some people say the greasier the better, but that's not the case here. Okay, and then we're just going to take our toothpicks out like so. As you see, the bacon is still nicely secured to the burger. Okay, toss those. And then basically, I'm just going to use a tablespoon, and I put my cheese mixture, this is the consistency of it. Put that in a bowl. Now you can either use a spoon for this, or you can just basically pick this up. This is not the cleanest dish to make. And I'm just going to put those down in there like so. And use a tablespoon if you don't want to get your hands dirty, but part of cooking is getting your hands dirty, so I'm good with that. Now, like I say, you can pretty much stuff as much cheese down in there as you want. You just don't want it to be too far on the top, over the top, so the cheese doesn't run out like that. You don't want it like that, because otherwise your cheese is just going to run right down into the drip area. What I'm going to do here is get a teaspoon instead of a... Oh, here we go. And just kind of push that. This is a tablespoon, actually. Let me grab a teaspoon. Okay. Take a little cooking spray and put on there. Just kind of push that down in there. There we go, like that. If you spray it, you won't have a lot of excess cheese going over the top of these. If you do this with your fingers, it is a bit messy and it can pull it back out, so. Okay. If you really want to get jazzy with this, you could spread this with some bacon marmalade, which is good. But since we have the bacon around there, that may make it a little overwhelming. Okay. Then what we're going to do next is take our barbecue sauce here. And we're just going to brush around the edges of the bacon. Like so. Want to brush the top there, like so, you can. You don't need very much barbecue sauce, just enough. And what we're going to do is bake this another 5 or 10 minutes. I would suggest 5, and then take a peek at it and see, make sure your cheese isn't running everywhere. And then they'll be ready to serve up. Okay, now these are ready to go back into the oven. I got a little jazzy with it and put some barbecue sauce on top of the cheese, since there was some left. And then the excess cheese spread that's left, I'm going to use that on a pizza. Freeze it and use it on a pizza, or you can freeze it and use it again for this same dish or another. We'll come back in about 10 minutes, let this cook in, and dish up. Alright, there you have it, the finished product. Cheesy stuffed sliders, and they are thick. And these are still about a quarter of a pound. Toasted in my little slider bun. And on top, look at that baby. Nice and thick. There you have it. Cheesy stuffed sliders, bacon wrapped, Kim style. Dig in.